everyone, and welcome to another episode of Metaphysical Happy Hour. I am your host, Cassie, Clayton.
And I am Elba Gardone here, excited for today's
Very excited for today's show.
It's exciting because I've been following him for a while. I know I was introduced to you by him, and so it's really exciting to get to have a conversation with him.
Yes. And by him, we mean our fabulous guest. His name is Travis Holp. We're very excited. Just to do really quickly, Travis is a psychic medium and spiritual guide. He has a deep passion for helping people, and his ability as a medium has allowed him to do just that. It's an ability that he uses to help others find empowerment, healing, closure, and peace. He has performed thousands of readings for clients worldwide and has recently been featured on Entertainment Tonight, US Weekly, and Elle Magazine. As a medium and spiritual guide, he's here to support you on your journey of self-discovery and healing. So welcome, Travis, to the show. Hello.
Hi, Cassie. Hi, Elba.
Hi.
It's so good to see you both.
You too.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited.
Yes, us too. So Travis, tell us, you have had, we were talking just before the show, and you have had like a very exciting year. We're just watching your business launch and expand, and all of these awesome opportunities open up for you. So why don't you kind of tell us everyone a little bit about yourself, kind of what all has been going on with you?
Yeah. Well, hey, everyone. I'm Travis. I'm a medium, and if you follow me on Instagram, you might also know me as your gay uncle who knows a lot of shit. And so, I did not set out to be a medium. I was in the beauty industry, in cosmetics specifically, for 17 years. And during COVID, when we're all at home, and I made a big choice to leave that industry, but not really know what was next for me. And so, I got on TikTok in November of 2020 and just like started doing tarot readings. And then that just kind of grew. And it was so funny because I would do these like readings on lives. Then people would message me and they'd be like, do you do readings like as well? And I've always done readings for like friends and family. And I've always been connected to the metaphysical space, but people were like, do you do readings? I'm like, sure. And, I had never given, people a reading before that for money. So that was, definitely new, but it was, I remember the very first reading that I gave to someone for money. And I was like, wait, I can get paid for this? Hold on. What do you mean? And back then I was charging, I think like $45, $60 for an hour reading, those were the days. And, and I didn't even think, in my wildest dreams that here's where I would be. I just wanted to feel fulfilled and make money and, have enough to keep the power on and, buy groceries. That was my goal. And, 3 years later, here we are. And I'm so grateful for every moment of it.
For sure.
Love it.
Love it.
How was the transition? Did you transition from doing your makeup over to mediumship?
Yeah, I did. So I had started in the beauty industry as a makeup artist, and I did that for a good 3 to 4 years, and then just found my way into management and leadership. And my last role in cosmetics, I was a regional sales manager. And so I covered the West Coast. I had a field sales team, all that jazz. And it was great. And I've always loved helping coach people and help people reach their goals, do it, feel fulfilled, help them kind of find their path and what, kind of what excites them. And so, being in this role, it's funny. I mean, yeah, the way that I do it is different, but ultimately, I'm still that person that's helping people align to what it is that they want or find, that little bit of hope or that little bit of peace. And so it's different in the way that I do it, but the core of the work that I do, it's still very similar in a way, which is kind of, it's kind of funny. My mission always has just been to help. my last name means to have helped in like a translation of like old French. So,
Oh,
you know,
wow.
I've always just kind of stayed true to that mission.
I love that. We have a friend named Danielle Nice, and she calls herself the nice medium. So it's funny how a lot of times our names are very connected, right? And then I just got my business name, and it's going to be the Healing Gardone. So it's my last name's Gardone, right? But it would be like the Healing Garden.
Oh, that's amazing.
So it's nice when yeah, there's a purpose, right? We were given a name for a reason, and I think a lot of times our names show up for us as we go through life.
Yeah. Well, that's how, I mean, you know, Warrior Unicorn just kind of found me. It's, you know, like my Instagram username is Travis Warrior Unicorn. I don't use the Warrior Unicorn in any of my business other than my LLC that it's filed under as Warrior Unicorn, but that's it. But no, Warrior Unicorn is a name that found me. So I totally get that. So it's a nice little piece of the Travis story for sure.
That's awesome.
Love it. Very cool. Well, so, okay. So you have, you know, so actually when we were kind of backstage before the show got started, you were also saying like you kind of jumped in and you just started like doing these videos, and it's kind of like you kind of accidentally kind of stumbled into.
Yeah. Yeah. We were talking before, you know, like when I didn't get on social media with the intention to have a following. I just got on there because I wanted to post some messages, lift people up, and in turn, you know, let people know like, hey, here's something I offer, here's what I do. But I never went in with like that strategy of like, okay, I'm going to make this video and I'm going to post it and it's going to go viral. Like I really just wanted to lift other people up. And so that's what I do. So I post these videos and they're, you know, they're channeled messages that I just feel like, you know, the collective needs to hear, or just something that came up in a reading that I'm like, oh, this would be great to share and make a quick little message about it, or just common themes that I'm seeing. And so one day it's kind of how it started with TikTok. I just would read cards and like a card would come up and be like, here's the message that comes with this card. And then, you know, and then transitioning that over to Instagram, I just kind of did the same thing. And then people really liked them. And so that's where, you know, my followers came from, was from making those videos and sharing those messages. But yeah, on the note of not intentionally being a medium, I started, like I said, reading tarot. And, you know, I didn't go in going like, oh, I'm going to be a medium too. I was like, I don't want to do that. And, you know, I didn't want to be the next medium. I just wanted to read cards. But then I would be in readings and I would just get these messages from people's loved ones. And I'm like, I just got to tell you this. And I don't know why. And it was like, I couldn't stop myself. Like it had to come out. And then I started getting, you know, then people were like, oh my God, that's my grandfather. And that's totally something he would say, or that's a characteristic of him. Right. And so, so me, I'm a Virgo. I don't know if you can tell by the way everything is placed behind me, but you know, for me, being knowledgeable about what I'm talking about, studying it is really important. And so, so I started taking classes. I started working with mentors. I grabbed like every single mediumship book I could like get my hands on, because I'm like, I've got to understand this. I think what's been so great for me in that journey, though, in understanding or in studying mediumship, is that mediumship has been the biggest gift to me in teaching me that I don't have to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I went in with that perfectionist, like, I'm gonna get this right. And but mediumship is so messy. And it's like, it's a space for true authenticity. So like that perfectionist part of me had to die a little bit. And I'm gotta be honest, I'm not sad about it. Like I didn't even attend the funeral. I was like, see you later, girl. But it's been great. It was an unintentional beginning, but you know, unintentional for me. Spirit had other plans.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Isn't that funny how spirit steps in for us and we have no idea that we would be where we are at today,
Yeah.
thinking that, that this is the message and these are the messages that come through. But yeah,
Yeah. Well, we also got a comment in the comments. Hey there, Sandra. He's like, what? He's in our class with Colby.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, we were just talking about that beforehand. It was a while back.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. It was a while. I will say it was a while.
It had to have been at least 2.5 years ago, at least.
Yeah.
Maybe
Okay, I was in
2.
beginner's class then, around that time then. You guys were already in advanced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was like
It wasn't even like, it was more of like just like live on. I think the class was called Live on Air because that's
yeah.
And it was just like how to like present yourself when you're doing interviews and stuff. And there was mediumship involved, but it really was like
it was more
covered other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was like not even like what it was like. Yeah. but yeah, it's what I find so interesting about kind of what you're saying about like kind of how you accidentally kind of sort of fell into it is like I kind of sort of feel like there are a lot of us that just kind of like accidentally fall into what we're doing. And, I like even my own path, like I look at where I was 3 years ago and where I am today. And I'm like, I can literally trace all of it.
Yeah.
All of it back to where did it start? One class that I took with Colby, which was like, it's a story I like to tell because it was her in-person platform mediumship class that was like extremely advanced. And here's baby medium, baby medium.
Yeah.
It was one of the most like, for me, I was like, it was terrifying because it was way out of like, Cassie was way out in the deep end, but also so amazing. And just everything that has unfolded since that class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, that's how you grow, right? Like we have to make ourselves uncomfortable sometimes to grow.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Stepping into fear, looking fear right in the face and saying, I'm here. You don't scare me anymore. You still scare me, but you don't really scare me anymore, but I'm here,
Because you never get rid of fear, right? It doesn't go away. You just get out ahead of it. That's it. You just learn how to get out ahead of the fear. And that's it. Every day, like before I start clients, like there's like a little bit of fear that comes up and I'm like, sometimes, and before, like when I first started, it would be really bad where like, I would be like, I just hope everyone cancels today. I hope everyone cancels and then I'm safe until tomorrow. But then, you get out ahead of it. You show up, you give the reading, even if you're terrified, you do the platform class, even though you're like, I might vomit right here on this stage, right? Whatever it is. And you do that, it helps you get out ahead of it. And then when that moment does come up, because it still happens, there'll still be sometimes where I'll be like, I'll catch myself and be like, I don't know what I'm going to say to this next person. I'm like, wait, I don't have to know what to say to this next person. Like, it's not me, it's just spirit, right? But then it's able to, I find for me, I'm able to soothe it a lot easier as well. And I can be like, hey, we love this. This is like, we love doing this. What do you mean? Come on, let's get going here. So yeah.
For sure.
And then what else were we going to talk about? We were talking about the retrograde, right?
Yeah, we got Mercury retrograde today.
And it's also a new moon, correct?
Yep. We had the new moon yesterday. We still got that new moon energy happening today. And then we've got Yule coming up, if anyone celebrates Yule, in about a week. And then at the end of the month is when Mercury retrograde ends. It ends on December 31st. Perfect day for Mercury retrograde to be over. Right. So yeah, we've got some really yummy astrology happening.
So I'm curious, what should we be experiencing in this retrograde right now?
So here's what I love. And I think maybe you guys can identify with this. I'm not necessarily like an astrology expert, nor do I claim to be. I have people around me that are great at astrology and I just listen to what they say. But the thing is, I think as mediums, we understand energy. we totally understand energy and how to flow with it. And so things like Mercury retrograde, they're so valuable to our expansion because it's a time of reflection. It's literally the universe going, slow down, rest a bit, and see where you have some resistance, and go ahead and work on releasing that resistance during this time. And you can do this anytime. You don't have to wait for a retrograde. By all means, you can do it any time of the year. But the analogy that I kind of give is, it's kind of like if you're on an airplane and the airplane catches like a jet stream, right? You're able to kind of get to where you want to go like a little bit faster. Like I'm on the West Coast. I love flying to the East Coast because we always get there like an hour early. But if you're flying back, we're normally back about 30 minutes late. So, so I find retrogrades just to be, and astrology in general, just to be really great at just kind of helping us understand like, hey, here's the energy. I know there's a lot of fear around Mercury retrograde, but I don't think there's anything to fear. I think, the fear agenda with it gets pushed because, fear is sexy and it gets clicks, it gets views, and people watch and they feed into it. But I think retrogrades actually can be a really beautiful, beautiful thing and really help us to understand, hey, here's where I'm holding on to resistance in my life. Here's where I can let it go. So that way, when the Mercury retrograde ends, I feel like I've just been like slung out of a slingshot. I feel like all of a sudden I've got all of this amazing momentum forward. So I think it can be used most certainly to our benefit every single time if we choose to look at it that way. And hey, here's the thing. If you are, and I can say this because I've done it. If you go into retrograde and be like, nope, I'm not taking a hard look at anything. I'm not going to deal with my nothing. I'm just going to just keep my head down and keep moving. Retrograde will pull you by the hair.
Yeah.
Like it will get you because that energy is there and it's going to feel rough and it's not going to be fun.
Yeah.
And I can say that because it's happened to me plenty of times. Yeah. And I'm a Virgo, and Mercury is the ruling planet of my sign, along with Geminis. And this retrograde just happens to be in Capricorn, and it's going to slide back into Sagittarius. So if you're any one of those 4 signs, you might just want to start paying attention to just how am I feeling? But as a medium, I think that it's important, at least for me, to teach people about energy and pay attention to how you're feeling and how to flow with energy a little bit easier. Because especially when we're connecting into spirit and we're making that link, right? We've got to be flowing with it. We've got to be going with that connection. So I think it's no different between I think it's the same especially when it comes to retrogrades. We can just be in the flow of the energy and go with it, and it's going to be good.
Yeah. I think that was me tapping in today. I went for a pretty good hike, and then I came back, I took a nap, and I know I have things on my plate to do, right? But then I was just like, my body's asking me for some rest and some sun and light and connection with the universe, So I felt so good just listening, tapping in, and I think so many of us, right, don't tap in because we're so conditioned to go, 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 go.
Yeah.
And if you stay in the go, 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 go mode, then eventually the universe is going to drop you on your butt and say,
You're gonna get.
We had I kind of actually am just coming out of kind of that type of energy right now, because like all of a sudden it was like this thing happened and that thing happened and that thing happened and that thing happened. And finally I just went, okay, I'm going into low power mode for a couple of weeks. We're not dropping anything, but at the same time, we're going to go into very low power mode and be like, let's check the boxes for the things that absolutely have to get off the plate, and like just slow down for a couple of weeks. And I really took some time to just relax and just be. And then probably this last week, I've just revamped up my desk space and everything. And I'm like, even just this evening, I'm like, okay, now that we've done all that, I'm like, okay, my system's ready to go again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely, yeah, we're going to knock you on your butt because you are burned out.
Yeah. Well, good for you for honoring that. And again, like that Mercury retrograde, like the energy of this retrograde feels really good. It's like cleaning out that proverbial closet, right? Where it's like, let's just chuck all this stuff that's just not working. So that way we can make room for all the new yummy things.
Yeah.
Agree. Do you also do mentorship, or what is, besides your psychic mediumship reading? Because I know you mentioned leadership classes and all these other things as well.
Yeah. So I offer. Hi Shay, it's good to see you. I love when I see a name that I know and I'm like, oh, I know that person. Yeah, so right now I'm not doing membership. Right now it's just readings and live events. Those things keep me pretty solid. I do throw classes in occasionally. So like if there's the energy there and I feel like, gosh, this is something I really want to teach, I will do like a class here and there. It's usually something based off of like law of attraction or manifestation. But I will be doing in the new year offering like a group mediumship 101 kind of class. So stay tuned for that because that'll be coming.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah, it'll be really good.
That's awesome.
So how are you preparing for 2024?
My gosh, just receiving. I just feel like 2024 is just like the year of receiving. I just feel like I'm right now transitioning out of like 80% doing into 80% receiving. I was like 80% doing, 20% receiving. Now I'm like, I think I have this ratio mixed up. So for me, it's like I'm such a, what you had asked earlier about, my transition from my corporate job into working for myself and mediumship. And I think like the biggest transition was like understanding that my energy is my business, and that my business is a direct extension of me. And if my energy isn't in a solid space, then my business isn't going to be in a solid space. Mm-hmm. And so I think, in the world that I was in, you just kind of threw pasta at the wall and just see what sticks, right? Like you're just trying all the things and just see what happens. And in, the energy space and mediumship, it's really more about like what feels like the most aligned action, what feels really inspired. And then I'm going to do that. I'm not going to do a bunch of stuff that just doesn't make sense. Mm-hmm. And so for me, that's been like the biggest transition. I feel like now I've surrounded myself just with brilliant people. And I just feel like now I'm in a good space where I'm like, I can identify with, okay, this isn't something I absolutely have to do. This is something that just could, or paying attention to what feels really inspired. And so that's really where I'm sticking. So yeah, so 2024, lot less efforting, a lot more receiving. More live events because I love doing, hi SJ. Yeah, we see your comments. Hi friend. And I love blue butterflies. Thanks for sending those. So a lot more live events because I love live events. I love being in front of people. My readings right now, I do some Zoom and then some in my, in my space. But I love live readings and I love group events. They're so fun. Oh my gosh, they're so fun.
I love that. I agree. Especially when you, in my experience, when I tapped into psychic mediumship, I don't know if this happened for you, but I also knew that when I tapped into that realm, I kind of tapped into like healing my generational trauma and like really digging deep in so I can show up better for my clients, and not them in a direction that they shouldn't be going into, because I myself, I realize that now that has held me back so much from being who I am and accepting all the dark parts of me, right? So I think that was probably like so eye-opening. So that's kind of what led me into life coaching and, learning more about myself, and and you're right, finding your right tribe, right? Finding the right tribe that you can connect with.
Yeah. And you're so right. We have to do our own work. Like I have done the most self-development work in the last 3 years than I've probably done the past 3 lifetimes. I'm just going to be honest. So like, when I first like started on this journey and people were like, you're going to have to just sit with your stuff. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. Now I know what it means. But at the time, if you're like, you're going to have to sit with your stuff, like, I don't know what you're talking about. Everything is fine. What do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
I am healed. I don't know what you're talking about. Meanwhile, I'm drinking everything alcoholic I can get my hands on. I'm taking pills to stay awake, pills to go to bed,
Mm-hmm.
it was not a great time in my life. I mean, I'm grateful for that version of me. That version of me needed to exist so this version of me could exist.
Agree.
Very much.
And I realized there was a lot of work that I needed to do, and mediumship just brought that awareness to me. And I said yesterday, and the work is never done. I don't want anyone sitting here listening to this thinking like that I've got it figured out and the work is done. The work is never done.
Yeah.
I have an awareness most of the time of where the work is, or when I'm having a reaction from old suffering or old wounding, or if I'm choosing to stay in suffering. But like today I was talking to a friend, we were just chit-chatting after a workout, and I was like, ooh, I realized something. And then I just shared like a pattern in myself that I noticed in my dating life, because my career is great. Dating life, that's a whole nother story. But I'm talking about this like pattern that I've just happened to notice in the past couple of guys that I've gone out with. And I'm like, hi, it's me. I'm the common denominator here. And here's why I think I'm leaning towards these types of folks. And I was like, ooh, that tasted spicy. I didn't like that. But at the same time, it's so freeing knowing like, here's why I'm choosing this.
Yeah.
Here's where my part in this is. Let me just shift it.
Yeah.
And not judge myself for it. Let me just love myself through this. And that's been huge. And I'm grateful for that gift that's come from mediumship.
Yeah, I agree. I feel the same connection to that too. Like it led me to having a purpose. I think so many of us go through life thinking our purpose is to bear children, raise them as good as we can, but then we find ourselves raising them the way we didn't want to, making the same mistakes our parents made, all these other things that come in, and you're like, oh my God, I hate my life. What am I doing? Why am I with this person? And, and running away. I think so many of us just run away. We run away from our problems. We drink, we do drugs. It's an easy way out, but it really isn't. I think the easy way out is really honing in on healing yourself and getting to know who you are, and that we are all the same. None of us are competing against each other. If we could just really love each other, I think the first person that needs to be loved is yourself.
Yeah.
Self-love.
And that radiates outward.
Yeah.
And I mean, girl, we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
Like people be like, I have nothing in common with this person. I'll go, yes, you do. You're both gonna die one day.
So true.
And I mean, while I don't necessarily believe in literal death, sometimes death is just easier to say than you're both going to become non-physically focused, right? It's, but it's true. And we all have that in common for sure.
For sure. And yeah, so I thought it was funny that Elba was talking about kids, because I have replaced any thought of having children with the number of fur children I have.
Yeah. I ain't birthing no babies. It's not happening.
6.
No.
I've got 6 fur pets.
Yeah.
6 fur kids. That's plenty.
Yeah. I got nephews. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Got cats, a couple cats and a couple dogs.
It's hilarious. Cassie just happened to have a new fur pet by accident, thinking it was her.
Accident. And I'm pretty sure that my father, because my father had passed away.
Yeah.
I just gotten a kitten. So it was actually like, so just, this is part of the last 6 months of my life, right? Like first my uncle passed and we all kind of like came together at my cousin's house, and my cousin had just had like a litter of kittens. And I went on my way over to the house. I was like, no more. I'm not bringing home a kitten. Like it's not happening. And of course I walked out with one of the kittens.
Yeah, of course you did.
And then the day before my father passed, that kitten disappeared. And one of my friends kept like I'm over with, for me, I'm like, I'm over at my sister's house, or like my sister came to pick me up that morning. I woke up that morning going, okay, I need to start putting out flyers, things like that to find this kitten. And my sister's like, we got to go tell mom dad's passed. Like, so one of my friends came over and handled everything at my condo. We spent a week trying to find this kitten. She kept going, look at animal services, see their ads, whatever. And like, I finally just sat down and was like looking through them. And I found this one ad and I was like, the timeline fit, he's a 6-month-old kitten, boy, every single thing about him lined up. The photo looked exactly like him. We got him. I was like, I haven't seen him for a week. He's a little, like maybe there's a little bit of a question in my mind, but like I'm 99.9% sure that this is my cat. Yeah. And I brought him home. I have at the time 4 other pets in the house. And I'm like, if this cat is not actually my cat, someone's going to say something. Somebody's going to have an issue. This kitten came in, snuggled right up next to my dog, snuggled in with the rest of the pets, no problem. And then the morning of my dad's funeral, my actual kitten came back.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? That's spirit, right?
And I'm like, and so he's sitting out on my back patio just crying. And I just ripped, it was like 3:00 in the morning. Like, and I just grabbed him in, and then I was like, oh, wait.
That's so funny.
So, and these 2 kittens, they play together, they snuggle together, they get into everything together. Like I will literally go into the bathroom and find like them sleeping on top of one another. Wow. They do everything together. They look alike, they act alike. It is the craziest thing ever. And I'm like, okay then. But my dad's up there laughing and smiling, going, need another pet. Like
absolutely.
It's like, yep, he had a hand in that. So, and also just the fact that he came back on the day of my dad's funeral was like, that was, to me, that was kind of dad going like, you needed something positive today. Here's that something positive.
Yeah.
What a beautiful story.
I love that.
So,
yeah.
That's so good.
Now I have 6 pets. In case I needed any more. Them all dearly. They're amazing. So, but yeah. So, and we do have a question. We have a question in the comments.
Yeah.
So what can people who are interested in mediumship do on their own to develop?
Well, I'm going to tell you, it's not the sexy answer, but, meditation is an amazing practice to get into, because when we learn how to calm our nervous system, we can receive those messages from spirits that much clearer. So I'm a big fan of, I'm a meditation pusher. I'm going to tell you to meditate. But also, giving practice readings, you can, of course, reading any books or following some of your favorite mediums on social media, because a lot of mediums, myself included, will give out like tips and ways to connect. And there's just so much great free content out there. And so here's the thing. I think, we have to think about, before the internet and back in the day, right? There were oracles and mediums. We've had oracles and mediums around since we've documented history, right? Like they didn't have Arthur Findlay College or great mentors, right? Like their gifts would come through and they would just hone them and practice them. I don't know how they practice them. I wasn't there. But you know, so you have to think there was a time where we didn't have all of the information that we have now readily available to us. So, you know, say meditation, doing your own self-work, the deeper you get to know yourself, the deeper your connection to spirit is. I promise you that. But you know, and following your favorite people. Those are some of the things that I do. I mean, I'm a big fan of saying I'm a student before I'm ever the teacher. And so, you know, if it's in the budget, classes are great. If it's not, that's all right. Grab a friend, see if you can practice on them. I think, especially with mediumship, you know, you need that validation from a sitter, from a person who can validate for you what you're feeling. Not if you're right or wrong, but what you're feeling, how you're feeling it come through your body, right? There's only so much self-practice you can do. It's kind of like relationships. There's only so much you can do on your own. And then you got to get in there and really, you know, really go at it and really practice what you're feeling. So with that, you know, sitting down there's so many free practice circles out there as well that are available. You can pay to be in one, you can take free ones. I would say just anytime you can just immerse yourself in learning. And I totally understand budget constraints, and there's so many really good just people out there that are doing things like for free as well or for donation. So definitely, you know, anytime practice is essential. I can't stress that enough, especially working with someone else, being able to ask them, hey, here's what I'm receiving. Can you validate this? And, you know, and not being afraid to get things wrong. One of my favorite things. So it's funny. Cassie and I were talking about this before the show started. We took one of my first development classes. It was probably like my first like class of that size. I've taken like some other quick little small ones, but Cassie and I were in one class, and like I almost cried in that class. And it was tough. It was really hard. And I, for a while, didn't want to take classes. I was like, I'm too embarrassed. But then you kind of get to this place where it's like, well, like I need to hit some bumps. I need to get things wrong because that's how I learn. So now when I take a class, so like if you've never taken a mediumship class before, this is, Cassie, I don't know about you. This is the part that I absolutely hate. So they'll do the lecture. I love the lectures. I could listen to a lecture all day long. But then they put us off into a practice room with another person. And that just, it terrifies me. And here's the thing. The person that's there is also there to learn, and they're also terrified. Like we're both terrified. Right. So we get into the class, and before I would be so scared. And now I'm like, now when I'm with a partner, I'm like, hey, I actually want to get some things wrong. I know that sounds crazy, but like, I need to get some things wrong because I need to know how this is feeling for me when it's coming through. So now I'm really excited about classes. I love them when they put me in the little group room. I'm all about it. But before that was not the case. So it was a very long way of answering your question, but there's so many different ways that you can develop. The truth is nobody shows up, knocks on your door and hands you a handbook and is like, congratulations, you've been selected by the universe as a medium. Here's your guide to what you do and how you develop. It doesn't work like that. So you kind of have to find your way to various groups, classes, mentors, and you can find something that works with all budgets.
Yeah.
So,
all options.
Yeah. I agree. I remember my first experience being really scared of doing in spiritual development class. Kobe had us turn off our camera, and they won't say nothing to you. And I was like, OMG. Like, but I can honestly say that helped me out so much.
Yeah.
The fear, just getting through the fear and just going with it and trusting. And yeah, it's development. It's like, you know, if you kind of really look at it like it's a class, a course, right? When you're taking math class, how do we learn? You plus minus, it starts there, right? And then you
Mhm.
start building up and you start building up and you start building your confidence. And yeah, for anybody who's interested, definitely, seek out, there's free classes out there, Eventbrite, there's free courses out there, master classes, teachers who are out there trying to get themselves going and learning about themselves. But yeah.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you kind of brought up like the classes and things like that, because yes, so with my journey, I have actually moved more out of the actual reading, doing the readings and the mediumship and things like that. But what I find is where my intuition really comes in is as I'm working with my clients, and I kind of can I can kind of channel into their energy. And it's not just when it comes to the design or things like that. Like there are people that I work with and they're like, it is weird working with somebody that's an intuitive, because they'll sit down to send me something and I'm like, hey, what about this? Should we do this? Or how, like, can we and they're like, I was just about to ask you to do that. Or, it's like where it's kind of like, I'm kind of because I'll kind of sit back and look at their business as a whole and be like, okay, like because my focus really is like our logos, branding, websites, things like that. But then there are also, certain clients that will need like help just on the back end of the technology and sometimes with their social media or something like that. And it's kind of like I like to develop a relationship with my clients where we kind of can be that like, let's see where we can really help you as a whole instead of just the one piece. And so like I literally have people, there was one person I was working with, just as an example, like I was sitting at my computer all day. I was I kept trying to walk out the door. Like for some reason, I just could never get there. And I just decided, I was like, you know what? I'm going to sit down. I haven't watched this person's show in a while. I'm just going to sit down and watch it and like have it playing off in the background while I sit here and do stuff. Cause clearly I'm not leaving my house. So I might as well get stuff done. And during their show, all of their equipment froze and their show completely went offline. And I was like, because earlier in the week, I was like, well, I just set up some stuff for them anyway. And I was like, hey, by the way, I have an entire studio ready to go with all your graphics, logos, everything. Do you wanna? Like, here's awesome. The thing. And they're like, and had I walked out the door, we would have missed that opportunity to be there and show up. But just because it was like moments like that, it's like, nope, that was spirit. That was not me. That was spirit. Something said, go ahead and set this up. I'm going, why? Yeah. They don't even do an online show. Why? Like when they go online, they have like all of their equipment. They don't need me. Right.
Right.
And so I just happened to listen to, so that's how spirit shows up for me. Is awesome. So getting out and doing the readings and things like that, like I have done it and it makes me so terrified. But being the person behind the scenes and being like, hey, this is how we can be here and do this, and just listening to the intuition when it does show up for how do I help this person, this or that, like that. So I think it's interesting that there are just different ways.
Yeah, there's different ways of helping other people, right? There's so many different ways. I'm so grateful for Cassie throughout the year. She's been my web designer, my logo person to go to. We, when I need help with MailChimp or this or that, like it's nice to have somebody just being like, yeah, sure, hop on, like let me help you, because we stress ourselves out. And I realized how much more I struggled with my business, with trying to figure those little things out. And I'm like watching YouTube and doing all these things. And I'm like, I could figure it out. But I spend a whole day learning nothing.
Well, and actually, like, because Elba just mentioned this, it's like we've actually kind of it's literally very, very informal. It's just a Facebook Messenger chat that we've started where, Friday mornings we've decided we're just getting on, and whoever's on and can help answer questions. And sometimes I'm just sitting there doing other things while other people are helping people.
Mhm.
But it's helping that with that technology side that otherwise you'd just be sitting there banging your head against the wall. And so it's just like, hey, come play with us.
Yeah.
Like Friday mornings we log on, come play with us. If you've got a question, we'll see if we can help figure it out. And so and sometimes it's impromptu throughout the week of just like, hey, we're bored, or we decided we're gonna log in and do it. But it's just kind of like, that's kind of my way of being able to kind of work with and help support, like, so kind of more people at one time.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
So yeah. But yeah, that's.
Let's see. And then what else? I know you wanted to mention as well that you were gonna be having the cheer, what was it?
Yeah, so I'm actually nominated for an award. The award is called the Cheer Choice Awards, and it's an award that is for people who use their social media platform to spread positivity, to spread cheer.
Mhm.
And so I'm nominated in the category of overall excellence, 50,000 to 500,000 followers. You can, and so it's all the winners are selected by voting. So it's open for public vote. Anyone can vote. You can vote for free once a day. Just putting that out there. And then of course they also take donations, and anybody that donates money for votes towards me or another creator, all of that money goes directly to Spread the Cheer USA, which is a nonprofit organization that helps to get food to families that need it and resources. And they're just such a great organization. So it's fun. It's an award show, but it's also an award show that has a lot of heart and definitely pours into people that need help. And again, people can vote at cheerchoiceawards.com, and you can search for me in the nominees. Just search Travis Warrior Unicorn, and then I pop right on up. So it's public voting, and so this round goes through until Sunday, and then next Tuesday they'll announce the top 10, and then that following week they'll announce the top 5, and then from there the top 5 in every category will go to the big award show in Vegas in April. So it's a big deal, and it's really exciting, and I'm honored to be recognized with just so many different creators that I love. I don't know if anybody knows who Mama Tot is, but Mama Tot, who is on TikTok and Instagram, she's nominated for an award. There's a bunch of creators that bring me so much joy. So just to even be in that group of folks is so cool. And I'm the only medium that's in the nomination. Well, I'm the only out medium, let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more in there, but I'm the only one that does it as their as their profession. Yeah. So I'm really excited.
Yes, we are putting that link there in the chat for anyone who would like to go ahead and vote.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is that every day that you can vote, or is it just one vote?
Every day, once a day for free. You can vote as many times as you want for donations. And it is and for any business people out there, if you make a donation, and it is a 5031c, so it's a tax write-off. So if you donate and you need a little charity write-off on your taxes, there you go. That's not official tax advice. Just a light suggestion.
Advice.
I am not H&R Block.
So we do have a question that came up in the chat that SJ asked.
Yeah.
And he says, can we manifest a relationship with a certain person keeping in mind their free will?
Oh, this is such a controversial topic. And I So I need to preface this with, I always say I believe, because beliefs can shift. I never say I know, because I know means like I know it to be absolutely true without a shadow of the doubt. And I like to say that I'm committed to truth, not consistency. And so I give myself grace to shift how I view this. But in my opinion, based off of my experience, what I've seen, what I teach, really what I teach and what I connect with for people who I'm in sessions with, I believe that we can manifest a partner by by being in the energy of what it is that we want to manifest. So for example, we take, this specific person that we're wanting to manifest, if we can kind of take the condition off of it and simply just look at how do I want to feel? How do I want to feel when I'm in this relationship? Let me just take the condition of this specific person. How do I want to feel? Do I want to feel joyful? Do I want to feel connected? Do I want to feel fun? And if we just practice feeling that and we embody that energy, if that person is a match to that energy, then yes, because they will be influenced by that energy. If they're not a match to that energy, or there is something even better, that's an even better match, that's what you're going to attract. And I always, with manifestation, what I believe, at least for myself, is that, and I've seen it way too many times, I thought I wanted something very specific. And so before I started this journey of mediumship, I tell this story a lot. It's one of my favorite stories to tell. Is that before I started with mediumship and I left my corporate job, I didn't really know what I wanted. But I knew that I wanted to be happy, right? So I got out a piece of paper and a pen and I wrote down all the things that I wanted to experience. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to help people. I wanted time freedom. I wanted money freedom. I wanted to feel connected. I wanted to feel alive. And I wrote these things down. And I just remember just saying to the universe, like, this is how I want to feel. Not even knowing that I was manifesting. I didn't know anything about manifestation at this point. Mm-hmm. Or I did, but I thought it was like, like how The Secret kind of pitched manifestation, right? Where like you think of the money and then it's going to show up in your mailbox, right? And so that's what I did. And then if you would have asked me at that time what condition lined up to those feelings, I would have told you another corporate job. Mm-hmm. Right. That's because that's what I knew. And I thought that would be great, right? and maybe there was another corporate job that met those things. But what I'm aligned to now, what I'm living now, is so much more than I could have ever thought of at that time to be possible. At that time, I had these old stories about how you made money and the only ways to make money, and like just how you had to have that paycheck. Otherwise, you were going to have to suffer and sweat and give up so much to run a business and all of that stuff. And some people live that way. It's true. But yeah, so I had to kind of also break some of those own patterns. So when it comes to manifesting a specific person, I would give yourself the benefit of taking the person out of the equation and just focusing on how you want to feel. And if that person is and that's like the ultimate path of allowing right there, right? Because there's the path of least resistance, or as I prefer to call it, the path of most allowing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because people hear path of least resistance, they think, oh, that's the easy path. It's not the easy path. But the path of most allowing really is letting the universe do the work. The path of most resistance is going to be, here's what I want to feel, but only if I have this condition. Then like, good luck. Yeah. And if you do get it, it may not feel like you thought it was going to feel. Right. So I think it's okay to want a specific person. I think that it's totally fine to, desire someone specific. It happens. But if you can just wiggle yourself free from that condition and open yourself up to different possibilities, you're going to be so much more happier with your manifestation. And you're going to just really love the process of manifesting.
Right. Absolutely.
That's
Well, and I
actually
love how you say like take the conditions out of it,
uh-huh.
because like for me with this happened years ago, but I had left a very toxic work environment, but there was one person that I met at like 3 months, like in the last 3 months I was there, and because of the toxicity when I left, the connection to that person was also gone. But I remember sitting down and just being like, what did I see in that person that I was so drawn to?
Yeah.
And I was like, I wrote down that list, and I literally sat down and did like a manifestation of, these are the people with these traits and
Yeah.
these types of things. This is what I want. And I left it at that because I knew there wasn't any chance of being able to reconnect with that person. So it was just a moment of going, but I want people like her.
Mm-hmm.
I want people who embody those same characteristics and things like that. And it was kind of like from there, everything else expanded. So,
Yeah.
It's, and it's, if you do have a relationship with somebody and for whatever reason it goes south, because or it becomes more troublesome, or things go wrong, or feelings get hurt, whatever, if that person is meant to circle back into your life, they will.
Yeah. Yeah. I learned a great tool over last week. I did a manifestation class, and she let all of us know that it takes 68 seconds for your thoughts and feelings to hone in that manifestation. So, like Travis was saying, when you're manifesting, think about how you want to feel, because this way you're not thinking about how this other person's going to show up for you, right? You're not putting certain beliefs in how you want this person to be, right? You're really wanting to feel free, loved, cared for, whatever it is that you feel you need. But when you can journal about it, think about your future self, how you see yourself, but it takes 68 seconds so feel those feelings for 68 seconds. What does it feel like? Smile, do a future meditation. There's so many future meditations out there that are guided, and how do you see your future self? I think those are very powerful.
If I may add, so Shay had asked a great question, just asking how often do you revisit that initial list, and how often, and what do you review that initial list? Or I'm getting a little tongue tied. And how often do you add to that path? You know what's so funny for me? I am consistently updating my list. It's like, as I receive something, I'm like, amazing, we're going to take that off or add this in. It's like, okay, I got that. Actually, I thought that that's what I wanted, but really I was looking for just freedom. And so, but what I started doing, are you guys ready for this like tip?
Yes.
Okay, so here's what I did. I wrote intention statements for each of the 6 areas of life. So like career, love, relationship, spirituality, service, all that jazz, right? I wrote intention statements, and then I recorded them over theta waves. So theta is a brainwave state that we can go into for manifestation. It's probably why that teacher is teaching it takes 68 seconds, because it takes us that long to slow our brainwaves down. And so when we're in our waking state, so like this, right, we're running in what's called beta. We're in our beta brainwave state. Alpha is more of a receptive state. It's where a lot of mediums and psychics work from in that brainwave state. You go a little bit lower into theta, and theta is a little bit more of a slower brainwave state, almost like a, not quite lucid dreaming, but still very, very relaxed state. And from that state is where we are reprogramming our subconscious. That's why you hear a lot of spiritual teachers tell you to meditate first thing in the morning or right before bed, because that's when our brainwaves are slowing down and we can reprogram that those neural pathways that work with our subconscious. So I put binaural beats, theta waves, and then recorded myself doing a relaxation meditation And then I recorded my intention statements, me saying them, because our brains do so much better when we hear our own voice versus someone else's.
Yes.
Mhm.
I did that. You guys, I'm on day 15. I can't tell you just what has already started shifting, not only like in my physical world. At this point, I just expect that to shift. At this point, I'm like, hey, Sperry, you set too high of a bar, so you're just going to have to keep going with that. The internal shifts, right? And our external world is just a reflection of our internal world, right? So yeah, so anyone that's listening or watching, or if you're kind of wanting to try something a little bit different, I highly, highly recommend writing out intention statements, if not saying them out loud, recording them either onto your phone, or you can get all fancy and record them against, you know, binaural beats like I did, because I've got too much time on my hands. But highly effective, and I can't say enough about that in my own manifestation practice. But the thing is like, I just spend the time. It's so funny. I used to write down all the stuff that I wanted, and now I write down just how do I want to feel about it.
Yeah, I agree. Because the things that we want isn't most likely isn't what we need.
Yeah, or maybe we don't actually really want it, right? Like sometimes we think like, listen, I have had plenty of people where I'm like, oh my God, I really want to date that person, or I really want that job. And then I get it and I'm like, what the hell?
You're like, it comes with all of this.
Yeah, like, oh, this was not as advertised. I don't think so.
Yeah. That
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how powerful our brain is. You know, they refer our brain as being like the universe. You know, we don't know the power that we have within us to create a life that's fulfilling and purposeful, you know? So, you know, hone into yourself.
Something else I just learned that our consciousness does not understand other consciousnesses, meaning we only understand our own consciousness. So how you speak about other people, judgment or shame, or speaking positively, your consciousness only understands itself.
Interesting.
Just let y'all marinate with that one.
Well, we are actually at the top of the hour.
This was such a great conversation.
Yeah, I'm kind of like, all of a sudden I looked up and I was like, oh, we're right there. I didn't realize that. which honestly, those are the best shows, right? Yeah. The ones where we don't realize that time has gone by.
Exactly.
So Travis, are there any last thoughts, words, anything that you would like to share with our audience?
Yeah, just be gentle with yourselves. I think none of us have it figured out. None of us. We are all just out here bumping our heads against the wall, trying to like find the path of most allowance for ourselves. So be kind to yourselves. And you know, I end all of my Instagram videos this way, and I'm going to end it here just because I mean it. I love you. I'm incredibly proud of you. And Cassie and Elba, thank you so much for having me. This has just been a joy.
It's been a joy for us too.
Absolutely. And Travis, I am, will you tell people the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, Travis Warrior Unicorn. All my links and schlinks are there. So you can find everything there. Awesome.
So, well, thank you so much for coming on the show with us and having this wonderful conversation. And
I'm excited for it.
Yeah. And for everyone else, we will see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye.